With J.D. Salinger's death this week, I was reminded of that famous opening line in Catcher in the Rye, in which Holden Caulfield says, "If you really want to hear about it, the first thing you probably want to know is where I was born and what my lousy childhood was like and how my parents were occupied and all before they had me and all that David Copperfield crap. But I don't feel like going into it if you want to know the truth." Well, if you want to know the truth, I've been dreading this. I had hoped to slip quietly out of town so I wouldn't have to listen to all these embarrassing things my friends have said. So I don't feel like going into it, however. So I'm going to say a few things, and I'll try to leave out all that David Copperfield kind of crap. First of all, I really appreciate very much this nice tribute. I really do. It's been a great deal of joy and fun to be involved in the sponsorship of this institute for the past 20 years. It's hard to believe that we've been at it for these 2 decades. Art Chickering noted in his comments yesterday that moral development in college wasn't exactly a mainstream issue in higher education in the 80s and 90s. Moreover, when we began, I wasn't at all sure that we could sustain a meeting in this out-of-the-way place, Tallahassee. Many of you know how out of the way it is with your travel plans. It was a hard time to get much discussion about ethics and values on the higher education agenda. And as the Aston's research on college freshmen so clearly revealed, students in the 80s and 90s increasingly linked college with making money, gaining status, and getting good jobs. And colleges and universities, for their part, became preoccupied with reputation and revenue and marketing themselves as gateways to a good life. Those high-rolling days now seem very dim and distant. In the first years that we had the Institute, Mary talked about Wakulla Springs, a picturesque retreat center south of Tallahassee. I hope you get the chance to see it if you have some time. We took boat rides, and we watched the birds and alligators, and in the evening built this fire in the big stone fireplace, and sat around and talked with Ernie Boyer and William Sloan Coffin, Sandy and Lena Aston, Art Chickering, Art Levine, George Koob, Benjamin Barber, Sharon Parks, and many others. When I recently looked over the list of scholars who've been at the Institute over these 20 years, I was reminded what a great gift it's been to be able to spend time with these remarkable scholars and very fine people. I want to thank the Institute speakers who returned, who are seated over here at this table, many of them. Each of them has been so enormously influential in bringing more attention to the learning and development of college students. And they have provided, as I think we have seen in this institute, so much of the important empirical data and conceptual models for understanding students and for shaping higher education practice. They've all presented several times, and it's really a great honor to have you all back again for this special 20th. I want to thank my colleagues at FSU. It's interesting, over the years, a lot of people have said to me how surprising, maybe a little odd, that a Values Institute would be sponsored at a big public secular football U like FSU. A place that, I might add, has had its own share of ethical issues, as we know. But you know, this place is blessed with many people, staff and faculty, who are genuinely interested in students and in their welfare. When I came, the faculty had themselves taken the initiative to develop a statement on values which became a core framework for our students and our campus. We had presidents who made service and who made social justice institutional priorities, so that many of the things that you congratulate me for were really supported and many times led by others in the institution, including our own staff. The work of encouraging the inner life of students is especially challenging, I think, in large research institutions. But I believe there is a place for the spirit as well as the intellect in schools like FSU and the schools and universities that are represented here by our participants. The student affairs staff has been especially, I think, dedicated to student welfare, and I'm so grateful and appreciative that Mary Colburn and her staff, Eric Weldy and Andy Mock, Casey Price, that they have been committed to continuing this institute since I moved to the faculty. Their commitment, in fact, has really made this a successful one, and I appreciate very much their willingness to kind of continue this legacy. I'm excited too about the new Character Clearinghouse project that my colleague Pam Crosby will be heading. I think it will be another way in which we can expand and help disseminate the information that it comes out of the Institute. When I moved to higher education faculty 10 years ago, I was pleased to find that my faculty colleagues were also very student-friendly and very deeply committed to the holistic development of students. And their scholarship and friendship has meant a lot to me in my second career in higher education. I want to thank the John Templeton Foundation. I'm so pleased that Kent Hill is here, the new VP for Character Programs, and to thank also Arthur Schwartz, who has encouraged and been supportive and a good friend during these past 10 or 15 years that we've been associated together. The foundation, has already been noted, played an important role in helping the Institute to get started, helping to launch the Journal of College and Character, and I've been very appreciative of their support. I'm very pleased to have my family here. You know, you don't get many opportunities to kind of to introduce your family, and most of them are from Chicago, and I know that they're probably looking for a good reason to get out of the snow and ice. So, but my wife Beverly is here. Beverly, Bev and I are celebrating our 46th wedding anniversary this summer. Our daughter Stacy, and our son-in-law Brian, our son Jonathan, our daughter-in-law Morella, and our first grandchild Charlie, who is not quite here yet. We're expecting him early, mid-May. The four of us, as I think someone mentioned, are going to try and run the half marathon on Sunday, but we're going to leave Charlie behind, I think. When I think back over my life in higher education, I think more convinced than ever about the transforming power of what we call the college experience. For so many young people in our society, the college years can be a time of transformation, finding oneself, moving to maturity, and discovering your place in the world. As Sharon Parks reminds us, college can be the best time, one of the best times for asking big questions and exploring worthy dreams. When I went to Little Franklin College in Indiana in the 1960s, I found a world that I never knew existed. I wasn't planning to go to college. No one in my family had. I remembered a disgruntled high school teacher telling me that I just had too many rough edges. But college seemed to provide just the right time and circumstances to smooth out some of them anyway. A young philosophy professor took me under his wing and mentored me through 4 years as a philosophy major. He taught me the joy of learning and asking big questions. I'll never forget the day he called me into his office. I was the only philosophy major in my class. And so it became a private tutorial with this young philosophy professor. He said, "John, I think next semester you're ready to tackle Kant's Critique of Pure Reason." Now honestly, to this day, I can't remember a single thing about that great